This is the 91st minute.
Arsenal made it 2 wins from 2 after hard-fought 1-0 win over Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Martin Odegaard put the Gunners ahead from the spot after Eddie Nketiah was fouled. But the last stage of the game was difficult after a nonsense sending off from Takehiro Tomiyasu. I didn't watch the game. I caught some of the highlights after, Milo. What were your thoughts about the game, and how did it pan out?
Yeah, I did watch the game. I was lucky enough to be working from home today, so I watched the entire thing. Again, you know, I thought the first half, both teams had their chances. I think Arsenal edged it. We had the possession, we had the play. I think this lineup is, I question the lineup again going into this one. So Gabriel on the bench once more, Ben White and Saliba at centre back. Saliba, by the way, made a fantastic, good old-fashioned centre-back tackle. If you haven't seen it, I'm not sure if it was in the highlight reel. I just love it. I played centre-back. I love that tackle. Please go watch it. Great tackle. You just don't see enough of that anymore because of the risk of penalty. Anyway, not to go on about that too much, but anyway, you had Vardy on the right, and then Tomiyasu chose on the left. Tierney left out the squad, so I imagine that Tierney may be on his way out. It's been rumored kind of all summer. Zinchenko coming back from an injury, obviously, was on the bench today and did come on to help us see out the game, which I suspect had we been winning comfortably, Zinchenko wouldn't have come on at all. I think, but seeing him back in the squad now, Tomiyasu will most likely serve a suspension anyway. I expect Zinchenko will start the next game and will start to take a bit more familiar shape in that back line. Because whatever way you look at it, from me, I know he wants Partey to invert when we're in possession. From me, you've got 2 players playing out of position in your back 4. That is something you can't sustain over the course of a Premier League season and expect to get where you want to get to. I don't think that that's sustainable. And I do think part of it is forced. I mean, Gabriel, I wonder if there's a slight fitness issue there, and that's why it's been happening, because I do wonder about that. And he's been coming on. He came on for the last 20 minutes against Forest. He's also been linked with Real Madrid. I don't know if you've seen that. He has come out and said he's happy at Arsenal, yada, 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 because they're obviously looking for a Militao replacement with the ACL injury. So that side of it, apart from that, defensively, like I say, that doesn't give me confidence moving forward. I wasn't surprised Ramsdale kept the start, because I think he has to make a mistake in order for Raya to take the opportunity to be number 1. Further up the pitch, Eddie Nketiah did win the penalty. That's one. I mean, we talked about this 1 year before, and I know it's one of those where you knock it around the keeper, but there's no chance he's getting to that. But it is contact, so I think you're in agreement. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Please tell me.
You want me to give you a yes or no, straightforward yes or no answer? No, is that what it is?
No, you don't have to give me a yes or no.
It was a penalty.
Okay, for you, it's a penalty. Yeah, I get it. It is a penalty, but I don't like that a player can knock the ball past a keeper out of play, make sure there's contact, and guarantee that. I just don't like that. I don't think that. I think they should be reviewed in their own right. But anyway, it is what it is. We got the penalty.
May I respond to that real quick?
Sure.
I understand you don't like that, and I also I haven't really decided whether I like it or not. But based on the rules that we have now, it's that's what I'm judging it on. It's a penalty. That's all. I'm not saying you have to like it that it's a penalty. I'm not necessarily saying I like that it's a penalty. I'm just saying it is a penalty. And if it's not called, that's a mistake, in my opinion. Not that it's some common sense, or back when I played it wouldn't be a penalty, so I'm happy they didn't call it today. No, it's a penalty. It's a penalty. And I understand the referee has discretion, and that's my problem with the rules, that if there is a smidgen of doubt about it, they have the opportunity to say no, it's not a penalty. But for me, contact, goalkeeper's too slow, Eddie Nketiah's faster. He trains all of his life to be fast. That's his thing. He touches it past the keeper catches him, it's a foul. Sorry, Cultured, go ahead.
What happens if that ball's already gone out for what would have been a goal kick
when the
and the contact happened.
I mean, again, I think you've got to look at them in their own right.
Because if the player isn't reaching the ball, why is it a penalty?
That's an because it's the goalkeeper taking out a player.
Yeah.
So, no. I get that.
Cartwheel is right, and it is. I'm not saying it's a penalty. It's just
a penalty.
I understand you don't like it. I understand you don't like it.
It's one of the things in football that bugs me, where you can guarantee that contact almost. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that side of it, I don't like. Obviously, I was happy it was given, but anyway. So
I'm at the stage where I'm defending Arsenal goals now. Like I can't because I'm accused of being biased. Otherwise, I have to literally defend my quote unquote rivals teams in order to have my point heard. Because if this was switched around and it was a United player, Eddie Nketiah, I'd just be accused of bias. Simple. You know what I mean? This is just crazy. Go ahead.
Continue. First of all, your rivals are a team in blue that are in the same city as you. Just so
yeah. Okay.
You should worry about them more. But anyway, moving on from that, Eddie wins the penalty. Odegaard tucks it away. Lovely. And at this point, I thought, I thought we'd probably go on to get another goal or two. And Palace were fairly organised. If you look at their home record last year, by the way, it's really good. I don't know if any of you have taken a look at it, but it's really, really good. They're very good at home. I think they lost 3 or 4 games at Selhurst Park last year, which in the Premier League is really good. Like, I think there are a number of people will be surprised by Palace and how they play at home. But I do think we would have gone on to win it. Now, the sending off changed everything. I was like, well, that's a dumb sending off on the player. But then someone pointed out to me, and I was working and watching, right? So somebody pointed out to me that actually it was Havertz and Arteta that wasted the time. And then they gave the ball to Tomiyasu. This is for the second yellow card, by the way. And Tomiyasu got booked for the time wasting, which really was bullshit. It should have been Arteta or Havertz that got the booking. And even his first yellow, I don't know if you saw it, I don't think it was a yellow. I think it was more of a dive. So the either way, the team got punished for time wasting, which I'm okay with that. I don't want the team to time waste. I don't want to see time wasting. It's one of the reasons I like the World Cup format of extra time, is because I don't like time wasting. I've complained about it endlessly on this show. So we paid the price for that, and then we had to dig in deep and grind out the win, hence the title of this segment. But and again, we talked about this last year. There are going to be games where you have to grind out a win, and this was one of them, and I will take those 3 points and move on. But I really would like to see the team light the tires a bit more against Fulham next week at home.
Absolutely. I watched a clip of all of Declan Rice's touches. He looked like he played very well as well. He looked like he had a great game. Great almost assist for Nketiah. Oh, he did.
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
He got man of the match. I was going to mention him. I thought Declan's best game for us, obviously he hasn't played that many, but it was a really, really strong performance, and one that box to box, I thought he was fantastic, and that's exactly what I hoped to see from him when we signed him. That's why I was quite excited about it.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't able to follow the game too closely, but I did watch Declan Rice's all of his touches, and the Tomiyasu one. Didn't he get his second card for pulling someone down, or Jordan Ayew down, or something? Or was that his first one?
I think that was the first one, right? Because
okay. I didn't see the time wasting one then.
Again, if you watch that, there's not a lot in that, but I can understand it. Okay, whatever. Like a yellow was given, that's fine. But the second one was kind of ludicrous. I do wonder if Arsenal could or appeal it, but Arteta in his post-match conference just said, "I'm going to move on."
You can't. Yeah, you can't appeal 2 yellows.
Yeah, okay. That's right.
If it's sending off by 2 yellows, you can't appeal.
That's right. Only a straight red.
It's an interesting one because Jordan Ayew did something similar, I think, where he was already on a yellow card, and there was a bit of ball fondling for a throw-in or a free kick or something, and he had to get that in there, and He didn't get booked. He got a warning from the referee, and I don't know if it was because the ref had warned Arteta and Havertz when they were sort of messing around with it, and then Tomiyasu took a little bit too long. But it's a tough one. It's a tough one to get right. I think it was a bit of a bullshit second yellow.
Yeah,
at the time.
It was, and realistically, if you watch that back, it should have been Arteta or Havertz that got a yellow, because they are the ones that time wasted. They had the ball for 15 seconds or something, and then Tomiyasu had it for 8, or somebody did the math. I saw anyway, but like
probably Arteta.
no, this was unrelated. This was a different fan that was talking about it. But like, so for me, lineup wise as well, I want to touch upon. He's going with this Eddie Havertz. Havertz was one of his ineffective games today. Now, I do think that part of that is the way that Palace organised themselves in that area of the park. They made it very difficult for Havertz to have any influence in his strength. So if we can't play to his strengths, in my opinion, Arteta has to be prepared to change the game plan straight away. Because if it's not going to work, using Havertz in the role you want him to, it's useless. You might as well. I'd much rather see Trossard in there. I'd much rather see Emil Smith-Rowe in there for a bit of dynamism. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes a game needs a spark. That's not what you're getting from Havertz. We know this. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I really hope that with Zinchenko coming back, I hope to see Zinchenko, Gabriel Saliba, and White return to defense, because I think I would prefer that over what I'm seeing, and then have Partey and Rice both playing. I think Partey's played very well in this position, to be honest, for the most part. So I've got no issue with him being there, but I don't think we're playing our strongest lineup right now, and that concerns me a little bit.
On the flip side, you're not playing your strongest lineup, and you got to win. That's good. And also, just like you said, the way Palace play kind of stifled Havertz's expression on the ball. Same way, I think this may, that's when having players in midfield like Declan Rice will flourish, right? That they sit back so deep, you're gonna have a lot of space for players like Declan Rice, and that's why having such a balanced team is so important. Which Arsenal have,
This is true. And Havertz's best moments, I jokingly said maybe he's a closet TMF, because his best moments came when we were down to 10 men and he dropped deep. I mean, he's a big body.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
he's a tall guy.
He did a job, and he was on the edge of the box, taking, he ran a couple of balls out of defense, like right on the edge of the box. And I'm like, this has been the best he's played all day, is when we're down to 10 men and everyone, we went full defensive mode, which has often backfired on us in the past. Palace didn't really threaten during that spell either. Not greatly.
I've got a question, and not just because it affected my fantasy football team, but why didn't Saka take the penalty? He's your penalty taker.
I know, and that's why I've got Odegaard and Saka in my Premier League team.
Unbelievable.
Arteta was asked about that in the post-match conference. He said it was a surprise to him as well. He expected Saka to take it, but he said, I'm all for allowing the leaders on the field to take over a moment if they feel it's necessary. And I guess Odegaard said, I'd like to take it. And as club captain, Saka said, okay.
Yeah, I was just interested because it happened in the Everton. I know, sorry to go slightly off topic, but the Everton Villa game as well. Is that Ollie Watkins normally their penalty taker, but Douglas Luiz took it and scored. And I didn't know if I was trying to think around, because Arsenal used to have that thing, right? That if you were fouled, you didn't take the penalty. I don't know if Villa are doing that because Ollie Watkins got fouled, but Nketiah got fouled. So I still didn't know why Saka didn't take the penalty.
They've done that, and they've also done that if you're fouled, you take the penalty. They've done it both ways.
They've done it all. They've done it all. Yeah.
Listen, Odegaard has been a fabulous player for the last 12 months plus. So, and he's the captain. If he wants it and Saka's okay with it, I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
The important thing ended up in the back of the net.
In celebrations, Odegaard went, pointed straight at Saka on that one too.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of that.
There's some good camaraderie there for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the highlights they showed, Declan Rice, cheering hard, at the full-time whistle. Sounds like it was a rough last 30 minutes,
It definitely was. Definitely was. But it wasn't it never really was full panic mode. I don't think.
Yeah, I heard there was a Thomas Partey potential foul on Eze or something. Oh, Hoff, you know this one? No, maybe.
I was thinking Eze just dribbled into the box, cut back around Declan Rice and squeezed in between Rice and Partey, and it looked like Partey stuck his foot out, and like he didn't trip him, but he ran into his foot. If that makes sense, like he didn't initiate contact, but Eze ran into his foot, went down, and they didn't. I think David Coote was the ref, and he just said like throw in. Like
there was a VAR check. There was a VAR check
as well. Yeah. I mean that one again. We've seen him given, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will say that we've seen him give. For me, it wasn't a penalty, but I got accused of having rose-tinted glasses earlier when I said that. So I am, it is what it is.
I mean, your track record just from this episode is, little.
No,
you're just salty because United got turned over by Tottenham.
I'm not.
You are.
I think
the
I'm not.
agree. I can hear it in your voice.
We can all agree the inconsistencies are awful.
Yeah.
That's what we can all agree.
Culture. Did you know that Cartwheel left his own Discord at the weekend after that Tottenham result?
I did not leave my own Discord. I did not leave my own Discord.
It's all right. Because of the time difference, I can just pretend I'm asleep, so I don't have to put up with anything. It's
That's
fine.
right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, the handball was clear. It's just anyone who thinks it wasn't a mistake by the refs is just a hater. AKA
it's the same as Onana's one, right?
My
Huge
final
mistake from the ref. Yeah.
My final comment on the easy incident half was that I guess he just went down too easy. Yeah. Subscribe to the 91st Minute here on YouTube and use the links in the description to follow us on all social media platforms.